Welcome back to Biz Talk, everyone. I am your host, Rachel Weaver. I am so excited to have with me today Noura Al-Masri. Noura, it is such an honor and pleasure to have you. Noura is an enrolled agent with the IRS, the founder and CEO of Nourasbooks, and an international best-selling author. Noura, it's such a pleasure always.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here with you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I am excited today to talk about nonprofit management, common misconceptions that happen in the nonprofit world. I think some of these happen in all businesses, but especially in the nonprofit world. So I'm excited to dive right in and ask you a few questions, being the expert that you are.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about it because there are so many, but we try to cover as the most important misconceptions.
Mhm. So tell us, what are some of the common misconceptions about nonprofit management, and how can debunking these improve organizational leadership?
So the really misconception in nonprofit, they think they should be running their nonprofits by board members or volunteers, which board members are usually volunteers anyway. But how can you run a nonprofit which considered a business? So nonprofit is a business. In order to actually be successful, you cannot run it just like a side hustle without considering it as a business. So
Mm.
how can you make that nonprofit, which you should run as a business, be successful with only volunteers? Keep in mind, whether those volunteers are just like volunteers doing anything in the nonprofit or our board members, they have their lives, they have their jobs, they have their families, they have a lot of things going on top of the nonprofits, let alone that maybe they have like so many nonprofits they're involved in. So how can they keep focusing and really give 100% to the nonprofit and make it successful? Realistically, they cannot do that even if they wanted to. It's just not realistic. It cannot be happening. So you really need to have a management team. You really need to build the capacity of the nonprofit by hiring people, by making the board members doing what they're supposed to do, not making them the executives for the nonprofit. They should facilitate the access for the nonprofit leaders. They should just approve, evaluate, not really run the nonprofit, because since they have their job, they have other stuff to do. How long can you wait for them to make a decision? A whole year can pass by with just waiting for one simple decision. Can be done in 1 hour if there are policies, if there are like system and employee in place.
Mhm. So true. Such good insight there. I think that a lot of us get caught up, and I know I'm involved in several nonprofits, and it can be overwhelming. So everything you said rings so true and sounds so on point. With sometimes I feel like we can't do it all, really. So just like you said, even if we want to, we try, but we just can't. So
I've been there. I've been there, and I was like, okay, this is what I learned the hard way, and trying to let people know, okay, please stop doing this.
yes, yes, love that. So regarding nonprofit finances, what's a prevalent misconception, and how does understanding really contribute to better management when we understand the the finance side?
So I want to talk about like money coming in and
Mhm.
money goes out. So coming in, a lot of nonprofits think the only way to bring money is really grants, or maybe this is the large money. And this is no further than the truth, because actually more than 64% of funds come to nonprofits from individual donations. Not only that, they think they can sell products and this way they can raise money. Well, think about it. How much are you going to get from each product? Usually those are small products. They cost you money. You need to have a space for inventory. Even if you're using Amazon, for example, and you don't have a space to have a space for that, you still cannot rely on that to bring you income. Yeah, products are great sometimes to get the name out for awareness, but not for fundraising. Another thing they think is like having a gala will raise all the money. Well, you cannot have a gala each month. You know, so therefore, do you want to wait all year to have a gala or two? That's raise money. Plus, gala cost money. So these are the wrong way to get funded. So a lot of nonprofit leaders, when I speak to them, they think those are the only way to get funding, because they said people are not responding to me. Well, they're not responding to you because you're not getting your to ideal donors. See how many nonprofits are there? More than 1.8 million in the US alone. So if you are not tapping into your individual ideal donors, you're not going to be able to get that funds you're looking for. Another misconception with money going out, a lot of nonprofits, and I'm not sure where did this come from, but they think they have to deplete their bank account every single year. Well, if you're depleting your bank account, how are you going to build your capacity? How are you going to pay your people? How are you going to pay consultant? How are you going to respond to emergency for your programs? So my thinking, this maybe came from grants. When you have grants, you have a period of time to use it. And if you don't use it, you have to return it. Not all of them, some of them. So maybe this came from this, but this is a specific case to specific grants, to a specific agreements, not for everything in a nonprofit. So the leader of the nonprofit have to be careful and this issue. Don't run and rush to deplete your money if it's not something you agreed on with a funder for a specific grants.
Wow. Very good. Very good information, because I do think that a lot of people, although I'm someone who would love to go to a gala every month, no, but no, they're so expensive to put on. And so oftentimes it's like you are banking on things to be auctioned just to pay for the gala. And then it's like we spend all this money on the gala and we have hardly anything to actually put into our nonprofit. So I've been there far too many times. I know all too well. I've seen this.
I enjoy events as well. Like I love organizing events and being at them, but they're not, unless they are actually targeting a specific thing and you already have the fund to support them. Like you said, you don't want to have a gala just to cover the cost of the gala. Then how are you going to support your beneficiaries, right?
So true. And I think it happens more often than not. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
So, Rick, how do you address the misconceptions for nonprofit leaders that focus on the mission and not worry about business strategies?
I'll ask them one question. How are you expecting to fulfill a mission that does not have a strategy behind it? Even as simple as putting your personal goals, if you do not have a strategy for your personal goals to achieve it, you are not expected to actually accomplish that goal. So when we talking about having a mission for a nonprofit that trying to create an impact, how are you going to achieve that without a business strategy? I like to say to people, and which is very true, if you are not ready to run your nonprofit as a business, then you are not ready to run a nonprofit. And this is actually what actually inspired me to write my latest book, which was made it actually to best-selling to Amazon last week. And it was all about like, are you ready to create your own nonprofit and manage it, or do you need help with from other people to manage it for you and you just like being a board member there, or maybe you want to support another nonprofit? And if you are in a nonprofit right now, are you struggling or not? So maybe because you don't have a strategy, maybe because you don't know what managing a nonprofit is going to entail.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Wow. Such great points to bring up and think about. So, should nonprofits avoid investing in professional development or technology due to budget constraints? And how can embracing these elements enhance successful management?
So they have to actually be efficient and more professional than any business as a nonprofit. Why? Because if you look at the IRS codes for nonprofit organization, you will see they have the largest section in there, largest than any business. So you really all eyes on the nonprofit. So if you are not doing a professional work, and you cannot do it without a staff, without actually building the capacity of your team, having team in a place, having experienced board members who know when to get involved and when not to get involved, you're not going to fulfill the mission. You're not going to actually be efficient and professional in managing the nonprofit. Plus, everything in nonprofit is public information. So imagine that 990, which is the tax returns for the nonprofit at the end of the year, being a public document, is not professional enough. How can you drive more major donors and more funders to your nonprofit if you are not able to do that? You cannot do that without having built the capacity of your nonprofits.
Oh, such great information. Thank you so much. Tell us where we can find you.
So you can get to my website at nourasbooks.com/contact to book a call with me. All social media is linked there, and you can purchase my book under nourasbooks.com/books. And I can't wait to talk to you, and because tax season is here.
Thank you so much, Nora. And with that, we will be right back after commercial break.